Good day, everyone. Thanks so much for joining in with passages and pranayama. We are working our way through the Samkhya Karika, and we're up to verse 5. The previous verse was all about the different modes of knowing, and now we kind of break those modes down a little bit. All right, so let me jump right into the translation here. Perception is the application of senses to their special objects. Inference is said to be of three kinds. It is preceded by the knowledge of, that is the linga, the middle term, the knowledge of the middle term. We'll get into that. And the lingin, the major term, a term or mark, if you will. And valid testimony consists of holy teachers and revelation, which I think is so much fun. I want to dig into that a bit as well. All right, so the first part of knowing is our ability to use our senses, right, to perceive things, right, to witness in ourselves. Last week I talked a lot about how, our own senses, of course, are limited, and that needs to be taken into account, almost as if there has to be some type of adjustment made in what it is that we're actually perceiving, or at the very least, reminding ourselves that what we might be witnessing isn't the whole story. So I think that's important to know. It's not as if Gaudapadacharya really brings this whole concept up, but we know today, based off of a lot of data in the field of neuroscience, that we can only see certain waves of length of light. So therefore there is parts of the world that are missing from our ability, or we're missing them from our own field of vision because of those limitations, right? Same thing with hearing. A good example of that really is hearing, because we know that dogs can hear something like, I don't know, something like 100 times better than we can hear, or something crazy like that. And therefore, we're not exposed to the sounds that they are exposed to. Now, let's get into the inference part of things, because inference is kind of as I want to say difficult to deal with, as I had just explained. Perceiving a thing. Again, perceiving a thing is limited by the tools that we have. Yeah, we can sharpen those tools through certain exercises. There's no doubt about that. But for the most part, there is a limit to how sharp we can, um, how much we can sharpen those tools, right? Of seeing and hearing and um, smelling and feeling, and what's the last one? Smelling? Did I say smelling? Okay. Okay. So maybe it's the sense of smell. I think it's the sense of smell that dogs have some crazy. We know this, right? I think I brought up the mantis shrimp last week. How they can see, different wavelengths of light, so much greater than ourselves. Anyway, there's many examples in nature of that, and of course, those examples will um, show us again and again that there are, in fact, limitations to our sense perceptions, or sense organs, I should say. Now, getting to inference, and I spoke of this like a little bit last week. Again, our ability to infer something correctly is once again limited by our ability to perceive things through the sense organs. Yeah, for sure. But also, where's this information coming from? How do we kind of dilute it? How do we digest it? And what does it need to go through? What process does it go through for us to come to a conclusion that is close to an actual fact? Now, okay, so now we get into the current, I'm going to use the word distortions of our own mind. That's probably not the best way to put it. Really, the word I want to use is the condition of our own current mind. But I'm going to use the word distortion because how we perceive our world is dependent on the road that we have walked throughout our entire lives, and therefore the information that we bring in is going to be filtered through that journey that we have been on. Everybody's journey, of course, is very different. We should cultivate a very deep uh, well of understanding that an experience that one might be having that we might equate to be or believe to be similar to our own. In the internal world, the feelings, the emotions, the mental processes that arise through that experience can be very different than ourselves. We see this largely in the racial justice movement. And I really hope, from a yogic perspective, there has been this awakening to deeper understanding of the trials. Maybe that's one of the easiest ways to put it, of our brothers and sisters of different races. Right? So the trials that they have gone through have created a world in which they must live in, right, based off of those past experiences, and therefore going right here in the present and going forward, any experience that they have is going to go through those filters based off of those past experiences. Where me, a white guy, we don't have that same experience. We don't have that same um, the information that is coming in, and the experiences that we have are well, maybe simply put, obviously things are much more complex when it comes to the mind, but maybe simply put, the world that, again, someone like myself, a white male, is, things are kind of built around the people like myself, right? Like kind of literally built around people like myself. So, and if you're a white guy like myself, we have to deepen our understanding even more so, right? We've got to like kind of lay off a bit and attempt, right? We're going to infer a bit here. We're going to attempt to see through the eyes and somehow almost attempt to live the life of a black person, an Asian person, right, a native person here in America, or wherever in the world, or of various religions. I was just listening to the history of the Armenian Genocide. Whew. Oh, Maran to me. Oh, stay hydrated, people. And bravo to Biden, right? To President Biden, because he's the first. He's the first president to ever, fully recognize the Armenian Genocide. It's been like 100 years or something like that, 90 years, something like that. And yeah, it's never been recognized. It's like somewhere between 1 and 2 million Armenians were killed by Ottoman Turks. So anyway, crazy story. My point is, to have that kind of like understanding and ability to kind of surrender to what actually was, and the difficulties that a certain people of a certain culture have gone through, even though maybe it's not popular to do so, is really, you're doing a lot of work on yourself. Right? So bravo. Anyway, let's get back on track here. All right, so inference. Remember that the tools that we have are in fact limited. Mm. As we kind of climb our way through these verses of the Samkhya philosophy, we're trying our best to get to the source of, or not as we climb through, but certainly this section of the Samkhya Karika deals a lot with gaining the, let's say, the spotless knowledge as much and as frequently as we possibly can. And as I've explained, it can be quite difficult. Now, as we kind of dive deeper into inference, we have this idea of the linga and the lingin, which is the middle term, linga, and lingin is the major term. Now, we actually do this all day long, right? If you're living in a home or apartment building or something like that, and you hear running water, chances are somebody has a faucet on somewhere, right? Let's hope, right? Let's hope it's not a leak. All right, so if you hear running water, you would this term, if you will, this mark. Right? It's another thing. Linga is translated as a mark. That marker, you can, if you can in fact identify it, you identify it, but you also understand its source. Okay. Also, the reverse is true, right? So, if you're there in front of a sink and you turn on water, you can also, right? This is the major term, infer that maybe someone else hears your water running, right? Whether it's in a home or an apartment building or something like that. So the minor mark or term and major mark or term, right? Linga, lingin. So, um, you know, maybe better example, or I think examples like that's like the householder example of the modern day. If we go back to those times when things were a bit more primitive, it's like the gathering of like darkening clouds and wind would give clues to one saying that, okay, well, a thunderstorm might be coming, or a storm's coming. All right, so the linga would be the gathering of clouds and wind. Let's say we're inside or something like that, and we're maybe somehow completely oblivious of what's going on outside, and we hear rain against the window. We can also infer the opposite, lingin, meaning that darkening clouds have gathered, the wind has picked up, and therefore a storm has arrived. Okay. This is actually a really useful tool. Um, Again, it's as I put very simply in the description, knowing how to know. Right, the human mind is an amazing machine. We have this ability to kind of like instantly infer certain things, but knowing how it's done, even in these most simplest of terms, can be really important in understanding how to improve the power of inference. Okay, so I challenge you at times, maybe throughout your day, to pick up on certain things. And if you find that there is a conclusion to a thing that you might see or hear or smell, right? I smell, something cooking. Let me try to identify what that is through the sense of smell. And if you can, kind of clearly identify that thing, then we're, not only improving the sense of smell, but we're also kind of working on or practicing inference. And remember, as we kind of like deepen our understanding of things, I want to go back to this concept of, racial equality, racial justice, cultural justice as well, using the example, or kind of referring back to that example of President Biden fully, kind of recognizing the Armenian Genocide and like understanding where other people are coming from. Oh man, it's like so important. We have to learn to put ourselves in their shoes, but also at the same time, like the power of inference and the sense organs, there's a limitation to it. So we can do our very best, yes, to understand why someone is maybe kind of like triggered by something somebody says, but we can't fully understand it. Remember, there's limitations to it. Okay. Okay. Now, I did want to address one thing, and valid testimony. So, the last part in the valid testimony consists of holy teachers and revelation, which I think is wonderful. Before I get there, so one of the Sanskrit terms here, and I wish my Sanskrit pronunciation was better, but I kind of leave the Sanskrit out of these talks. But this one, Adyavasaya, Adyavasaya, something like that, is mental effort. So going back just to a moment ago, right? Mental effort, apprehension, determination to begin an activity with the view of getting the fruit. I like this, right? So it really this word it breaks it down so that The thing that we're trying to get to the source of, right? The thing in which we're trying to infer and, of course, gain knowledge from it, it's the mental activity, the actual practice of, right? The mental effort, right? So important. Okay. Okay. Now, and finally, I like this translation. And valid testimony consists of holy, comes from consists of holy teachers and revelation. Oh, so as we kind of go deeper and deeper into this, philosophy of Samkhya, or if you're, reading through the Yoga Sutra, a lot of the stuff is brought up in chapter 3 of the Yoga Sutra, or at least this is, this idea of revelation. That it is, sometimes said that, through the practice of yoga, Sankhya philosophy, Vedanta philosophy, all can be known, right? Everything can be known. Now, obviously, right, if you don't practice tying your shoe, you're not going to be able to practice, you're not going to be able to tie your shoe. You're not going to know how to tie your shoe. The idea that all things can be known through, meditation is that the well, going back to the description, knowing how to know. We get to the source of learning how to teach ourselves so that we might know how to know a thing, right? Also, removing the material end of a thing. Remember that in the transcendent state, as we again kind of travel through Sankhya philosophy, it's made up of these, 25, 26 different parts. All of those parts are of material nature. That once we get beyond those parts or evolutes, we've transcended them, and we enter into nya, the field of knowing. So is we, the idea that we can know things beyond our normal capacity to know a thing. Well, it's like mathematics, right? Going to this idea that, was mathematics learned or was it discovered? And mathematics, I think, is probably the best example because it's kind of like this universal language. It's not anything that um, you maybe have to know like these certain equations and stuff, but at the end of the day, the um, power to use reasoning, logic, right? The power of logic to get your way through, basic, even complex equations. Once applied, it becomes easier and easier, thus the ability to know that thing, um, to solve that equation. I hope that makes some sense. All right. All right. So let's begin with pranayama. All right. Sit up nice and tall as always. Mindful of your respiratory fitness. There's two parts to pranayama. One part is improving your respiration, right? Your respiratory system. And the other part is, well, the present moment, a place for the mind to remain fixed. And we're balancing those two out. So I always like to keep my pranayama simple. Last week I did Viloma, so I'm going to keep it simple this week. We're going to do inhale and exhale retentions. Be mindful of those. If at any time you become a little distressed in your breathing, just simply move back into a normal pattern of breath. Sitting up tall, maybe with your eyes closed, you can set your hands maybe in Gyan Mudra if you'd like, upon your knees, or just rest your hands where they will. Ears, shoulders, hips aligned. Relax your face. Let's inhale. Exhale. Inhale. exhale. Inhale, exhale. Let's begin with control. Inhale for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, 5, 4, 3, 2. Hold, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Then inhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Loosen control of your breath. It'll take a few moments of quiet meditation. Use your breath, right, to stay in the moment. If your mind begins to wander, just return your focus back to your breathing. Move to an exhale. Deep inhale, shoulders rise. Exhale through your mouth. Shoulders roll back and down. Blink your eyes open and hopefully to set your day off right. I thank you so much for joining in. I really appreciate it. Have a wonderful day. Peace.